Hello everyone, I'm just back from Salute in London and I have found something very special on the shelves of the TT Combat display. If you have a little look here, you might recognise this card from their Instagram reveal, but at the trade show they did have some more models on there that weren't actually on release, nor even being teased on the Instagram. So today, I'm going to be showing you not only the cards, but the models that go with them. Starting first, I'm going to show you the ones that were on the Instagram, which includes Lady Luck. The stats across the board are very solid with a nice rocking 8 stamina. The moves are pretty standard, nothing too special there, but we do have a very solid set of abilities here, certainly with these breaking waves. This wrestler's brawl attack gains shove 2 until the end of its activation. Fortune favours the bold. Whenever a friendly wrestler successfully pins or throws an enemy wrestler out the ring, gain an endorsement reroll. That is a very powerful ability because endorsement rerolls can change the game. And honestly, not a bad price. Most of the cards you're going to find here today, in fact, all the cards you're going to see here today, are all part of the rather new Pieces of D8 faction. Now, I have already assembled these models for you, and they have had a basic coat of filler because I will be working on these throughout the stream during the week. So this would be a good time to follow me on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube. For anybody who's not seen me, I do stream on Twitch 5 days a week, painting Rumbleslam minis and D&D minis, and occasionally some Warhammer 2. The second model we've seen teased on the Instagram page is Switch. We didn't know them by name, we've only seen the model. This model has a rather unfortunate death, however does pack a meaty attack stat. Grapple is definitely not shabby. Packing 10 solid health, and these insanely good moves. Look at that, 2 gold, shove 5. But you'll notice this is a tag team. And we also have Unsettling Visage for 2 AP and a Crowd Pleaser. Roller Copper, that many enemy wrestlers get -1 AP and -1 MP. So as alluded to earlier, this is a tag team. Whenever bait takes damage, immediately make a tag out action for 0 AP, even if not next to the ropes, or if a tag out or tag team ability have been done this round already. Switch is then placed in the ring adjacent to a rope in the closest possible empty square where bait was. If bait is KO'd by that attack, Switch is still placed, but bait is counted as removed from the game. I'm sure you'll agree that Switch is quite the powerhouse and will do some decent damage on your team. But now let's have a look at bait. Look at the little guy. Look at him. This little fella is all about dexterity with a very small health pool. That -2 AP from Facehugger is going to be very potent. Also, as part of a tag team move, Shine for a Shiner, 2 gold, 4 damage, shove 5 is pretty damn solid. Side by side, these cards are pretty remarkable. All octopodes are venomous. This wrestler's grapple becomes gold +1 until the end of the next activation. Not bad. Whenever this wrestler makes a tag out action, it recovers all of its stamina. That could be really fun. Like, between the two of them, their damage output is pretty solid with some 3s and 4s. Consistency with bleeding is always helpful. Be able to regenerate. Oh, hang on, swallow whole as well. If this attack causes a beatdown and also KOs the target, they are eaten. Remove them from a game, and Switch gets a free Crowd Pleaser attempt. So no need for a pin roll or to try and throw them out. They're just out the game. Can't believe I overlooked that. So bait and Switch combined are 475, so you've still got plenty of room to kind of wiggle the team there. So let's have a little look at the models. So in the box set, you do get both parts, obviously being a tag team box set. So this is the previously announced Switch. He comes on one of the large bases. And the relativity. This is bait. As you can see, bait is about the size of my fingernail. He is absolutely tiny, but so adorable. Next up, we have another 2 model pack, and it is Diodon. This is a fairly chunky little bar you got there, mate. Pretty solid stats across the board, grappling being pretty damn decent. 2 AP for the MBU clothesline, -1 MP and knockdown. But I am seeing a 5 damage move. So it's only 3 copper, 3 AP, and it's off the turnbuckle. So maybe not the easiest one to set up. Now, there is a new unique mechanic with this model. This is based off a pufferfish, and I love him. So the idea being that whenever this wrestler takes damage, the attacking player must roll to see if Diodon expands. If Diodon takes 1 damage, roll 1 crowd die. If he takes 2 or more damage, roll 2 crowd die. If at least one boo is rolled, swap Diodon's card and miniature with Calamitous Diodon, which is obviously this side. You may choose which 3 other squares he takes up. There is a standard small base for the core model, and the expanded one is on the larger base. His stamina stays the same. When placing Calamitous Diodon, you may choose which other 3 squares he takes up. Any wrestler, friendly or enemy, in any of those squares is moved directly away until they're in an empty square. Those wrestlers take 1 silver damage and receive a bleeding counter. For 275, that ability, while very solid, is going to be dependent on your opponent. Unless you could perhaps trigger him somehow. My first thought is the Booty Chasers box set has a lot of live ammunition. Maybe you could snipe your own character and set him off as a improvised pufferfish device. So moving over to the bigger version of the card. So when we compare the 2 cards, obviously the stats have changed to favour more of an aggressive playstyle. They are currently sporting less action counters and movement counters. Obviously the stamina stays the same. We are showing an increase in weight and a smaller throw distance, and we do have 3 rules on the other side. So looking at the moves on the back, we have a cheer crowd reaction, 2 AP, 1 fish, 2 fish, blowfish, bluefish. My dyslexia didn't like that one. Each wrestler in base contact, friendly and enemy, receive -1 AP counter. Pretty solid. Puff in. Diodon shrinks back down to his normal size. You just swap the models. He can continue his activation with the same AP and MP. As a passive, we have Spiky Defense. Whenever an enemy wrestler attacks this wrestler, they take 1 damage and gain a bleeding counter, whether they are successful in the hit or not. However, this wrestler may not bounce off the ropes, nor be bounced off the ropes. This wrestler's brawl attack has the bleeding special rule. Reading this, I immediately think of the Vampire box set and wonder about any synergy they may have. The set comes with both models, and this is the basic form. He just looks so nervous and has this little Abe Sapien-like energy. Forgive all the putty on this, but the model itself has a giant equator of 2 halves that go together, then the top and the legs join to that, so it's 4 pieces. But he just looks hilarious. I won't even hide the fact, I can't hide the fact it's completely green. So obviously I've used a lot of filler here, and it's this stuff here, this is amazing. Green putty from Green Stuff World, could not recommend it more. Many people use liquid green stuff from GW, but that shrinks, and I don't like it as much. This stuff is much cheaper, lasts forever, and does not have such a problem with shrinkage. My one complaint, I feel he should have a bigger booty. Like some junk in the trunk. Our next superstar is Reefback. This is a pretty standard big guy wrestler, and it is certainly an improvement on the last troll we had. Rocking a 2 gold attack. Again, this is a very offensive set we've seen so far, with the exception of Lady Luck. 3s across the board with 10 stamina, a mighty throw. Tidal DDT is hitting for fairly consistent damage. Anchors Away is a pretty decent skill with knockdown. Weight 3 will also help with a follow-up pin. The only issue I see with that is with this being 3 AP, you won't be able to hit this, get the knockdown, and score the pin with the same character, unless you can increase his AP somehow. Rocking that almost broken skill of regeneration, this is honestly, it's going to be quite formidable, and you do have the World Conservation Wrestler, WCW. Large, pulped, and stony. This wrestler's attack deals an additional 1 copper damage until the end of this wrestler's activation. That could be brutal. Regeneration, get your stamina back, simple as that. World Conservation Wrestler, Reefback is protected. Reefback is a protected environment. Any wrestler that scores a beatdown on Reefback immediately gets mobbed by environmentalists and ends their activation. That is really, really strong. And here is the +2 beatdown, recovering 2 stamina a turn beastie. Teaming him up with Carp Crab for the extra regeneration would make him near unstoppable. And last but not least, certainly not least, it is my absolute favourite character in the set. So those who've been following the channel for a little while have noticed I've been playing with my partner and my daughter, and she's going to love having everyone's favourite demigod. Okay, I'm going with Ieri. 500 takes later, and I'm going with Ieri. It means fast fish in Maori culture. Solid 11 stamina, decent stats again, and 4 action points. Combined with its moves, you could actually get quite a lot of value out of this character. This Island Breaker move has Fury, which means if they do land a successful hit, they get an additional hit. A successful hit from an action with this special rule causes the wrestler to make a single additional brawl attack for 0 AP against the same target if it's still in base contact. So in theory, you could go in with a 2 AP Island Breaker off the ropes, hit, get free brawl, and then because you've got 4 counters, you could go and do it again. So in theory, you could get 6 attacks per turn, just off that one there. So we're going to have a little look at the crowd pleaser. It says you're welcome. Of course it says you're welcome. Remove up to 2 counters from any wrestler within base contact. This wrestler gains those counters. 4 counters, hit Island Breaker, do damage, get a free attack. Do it again, or gain this, steal, and do it again. There's a few ways you can activate a cheer, so that's going to be insanely good. And we have the Shapeshifter for 3 AP. Totally Not Merry transforms into an eagle and soars over the ring. Or was it mole and digs under the ring? Move I Can't Believe He's Not Married to any empty space in the ring, including on a turnbuckle. So not only is he pretty strong and pretty powerful, he is also able to basically fly to a turnbuckle, and his turnbuckle attacks cause bleeding and 3 damage. I would have concerns about this being on the table, or I would take it on my team and have slightly less concerns about it being on the table. Guys, I know many of you are much better and more seasoned players than I, so if there is any issues or any ideas that I may not have covered, please do let me know. But this one is by far my favourite model. Just look at it. My only issue I'm going to have with this is my freehand is not particularly strong, so I am not going to look forward to painting the tattoos. But guys, I do hope you love these models as much as I do. I was very lucky to get my hands on them early. They've not even been announced on the website for the most part, but I'm sure they'll be coming up very soon. If you are looking to order these models and save some money, please do consider going to our friends at Griffcon Gaming, and the link is in the bio. Guys, thank you very much for joining me for this exclusive reveal. I do hope you're as excited as I am, and I will see you for more games of Rumbleslam and more content here on the channel. Thanks as always to my Patreons. I cannot do this without you. And also there's lovely new members now we're partnered.